everybody, it's Clarissa here. We are back in the limelight with yet another extraordinary entrepreneur. But before we get to our today's guest, I do want to remind you that you are going to be able to hear this interview over on our podcast at Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Spotify, Pandora, and Podbean. That is the In the Limelight podcast. Over on TV, you're going to, yes, we are. We're still on YouTube, but we are on Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire, Google Play, Dailymotion, and 100 other smart TV apps. Don't forget to read our magazine, please, over on Press Reader, which is the largest publication aggregator out there right now. It is In the Limelight with Clarissa, intelligent media for the savvy entrepreneur. This is Lady Fiona Carnarvon, who has graced our cover for the spring 2021 edition. This is the lady that owns, along with her husband, owns Downton Abbey, otherwise known as Highclere Castle. My good friends over at my news desk, also I'd like to give a shout out to, because they are really changing the trajectory of my business. I'm able to connect now with journalists all over the world so that I can get my newsletters and my press releases out about everything that's happening here at In the Limelight Media. So thanks again to my news desk. All right. I am going to bring on our guest right now, and we're going to be talking about things that every entrepreneur really needs to know. That's why we do this show. There he is right now. That is David Radlo. Welcome, sir, to the show.
Clarissa, I'm delighted to be here.
Well, you're just too kind. I am really thrilled that we're going to be talking about your book today, David. It is The Principles of Cartel Disruption, and it is Accelerate and Maximize Performance. I'm going to be doing that because we're going to be talking about capital raise. We're going to be talking about how to pitch. We're going to be, like you said, go long, go short. What is it about all of that entrepreneurs need to know when they're going after capital, when they're looking for some funding? And, probably no better time also, David, because in this last year, when things have changed the way that they have and entrepreneurs have had to pivot and shift in many different ways, some really good ideas have come from being able to be home all the time and thinking a lot and working a lot. I know that it has happened for me, and I think it's happened for a lot of others as well. So where shall we start? Where would we start as far as you're concerned with pitch decks and pitching and for funding?
Where you want to start really is how to get you in the right proper mindset, how your prospect or customer really wants to receive the pitch. Number one, it's not a situation of quickly, I'm going to say something to you and talk for an hour and a half. It's more like, if it's not dangerous, ignore it. If it's not new and exciting, ignore it. If it's not new, summarize as quickly as possible. Don't send anything up to the neocortex unless it's absolutely necessary. Make sure that you do it in 20 minutes or less. Always finish early. I mean, these are some of the basic things. And then what you need to do, and I set out really two methods that work. Really, one method is just how to lay it out, and that is the base pitch deck method, and that we work with entrepreneurs at Tufts University, and I work with venture capital firms. So I've done this from startup to raising billions of dollars. It's really, it's still the same way to go at it. So that is one way, is the base pitch. The other one is the tactics of Oren Klaff, and he does the strong method: set the stage, tell the story, reveal the intrigue, offer the deal, nail the hook point, get the deal. Well, it really is, the important thing is that you practice and you focus on every little utterance that you have and voice inflection. So I will start right here with just the base stuff to say, what do you want to get across? Well, you really want to do it in 10 or 11 slides. That's it.
That's right.
Do not go longhand on this.
Yeah. Last thing you want to do is bore them to death, right? And that's the risk that you run when it's too long. Just say what you have to say, get it in, get it done, and get it done succinctly. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And really, you want a title slide, quick, and then problem, market opportunity, target customer, market size, and then slide is number 3. What's your product or service? Why is this 10 times better than something else?
Right.
The technology and invention in 4. your business model in 5, your focus go-to-market strategy in 6, focus on your competition in 7, your management team and advisory team, how they're going to add value to the business in 8, financial projections in 9, your status and funding requirements, and how money goes right to value. So you know that if you do X, Y, and Z, it's going to take the business up, and then you ask for the sale.
Otherwise known as the closer, right? Yeah, close it up. Get it done.
And get it done. And really, it doesn't matter that your numbers are wrong or that everybody expects them to be wrong. And I've done this with 14-year-olds, and 14-year-olds won the Conrad Challenge at NASA, and they ended up speaking at the UN. And I've done it with a management consulting and venture guy who is the icon of the world. And, and the idea is just improve. It's improvement.
Yeah. And again, as I said before, not bore them and try to make it a little bit, not, what's the word I'm looking, light, kind of little, maybe a couple, maybe a little fun somewhere along the way, a little giggle. I mean, just try to keep it. I think people get really head up. They get really uptight when they have to make that presentation. And, just like when you're in media or like we're doing here, a lot of people just are not really, they don't love this kind of thing. They're not really good at it. And I think that, there are a couple of things that I like to say, David, and that is number one, nobody really wants to see you fail, right? Nobody's going, I can't wait. This guy gets in front of the microphone and gets in front of the board and screws up so we can all have a good chuckle. Nobody says that, So what they really want is for you to succeed. So, chill out, do it right, and follow your pitch deck advice.
Yeah, it's like you're the alpha. You're not the beta when you pitch. So you're the one that is the one in demand. And you have to really focus on that and realize that people are going to want to support you. As you just said, they want you to win.
They do.
So give them the ammunition so you can win.
Right. I think that's probably one of the times where they do want to be sold. When they say in marketing, don't sell. But when you're in that kind of position, I think it's okay. That's what they kind of want to be sold. So sell them your idea, sell them on you first, right? And then sell them on your ideas, because when you walk in really well prepared, that's a pretty cool thing right there. What is a crock brain?
Crock brain is best way to explain it. It's the old school brain that will only take vital information to go up to the thinking part of the game. Initially, what you do is the thinking part of the brain is neocortex. That's where you generally throw a pitch, but you're receiving it. It's not, you don't receive it in the same way that you throw it. So people always make this mistake. They always go long on detail and get caught up in paralysis analysis.
Yeah.
And you don't want to be there. I mean, the best way to explain this is pitching is a first date. Okay. So honestly, you'd like to, if possible, maybe have a cocktail hour. You want to avoid the coffee shop. You definitely want to avoid going to the office of the person if possible, because then it's the leverage situation. So you really are just trying to, get them excited enough to say, here's my card. What's your LinkedIn? What's your telephone number? Let's have another conversation.
So the second date.
You want the second date.
You want the second date. What should you not ever do when pitching?
Number one, don't go over the 20 minutes ever. Don't go over. That's number one. I mean, number two, you really don't want to do the 110 minutes and 45-page pitch deck.
You actually had to tell somebody once, didn't you? You had to go up like I don't know who it was, I don't want to name, but a big wig in a corporate environment because he bored the heck out of everybody in an hour and 10 minutes and then he was wondering like why, what happened? It didn't seem to go over well. And you went up and said, hey, listen, you like straightened the guy out.
Yeah, I mean, I was brought in, and like I was like floored that I was brought in by this guy, and he just was having. He just was his pain point was he wasn't raising the money, and he said you have to honestly and candidly tell me what you think. And I said, yeah. I said you've lost me after 10 slides, and you're on 42.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
And I said you can't go over 20 minutes, period.
Yeah.
And he nailed his next financing trip. He killed it.
Yeah. Well, 42
Yeah.
slides. I mean, no, hey, that's just that's outrageous. That's just way, way too much information. And I think people think that more is more. More information is
Yeah.
more, and that it's we all know that that's just not the way it is. I mean, especially in media, when you say soundbite, it means give me all the information I need in this much amount of time. And it's almost an art form, but it can be done. I mean, we do it all the time. Okay, so how much money can be raised from these pitch decks, David?
You can raise anywhere from just coming out. You want to raise, quarter to $500,000. But you want to raise, an A round of 5 to 10 to 25 million.
Right.
You want to raise $1 billion because you need to put up a new facility because if you don't have that new facility, you can't grow, and so there's a lot of different ranges here on where you can use this.
And there are a lot of different places too, because it says here, either large private equity, right? You can go there, or startups, or just like normal banking relationships.
Absolutely.
Banks are, would banks sort of be the first stop before moving on, or are there different ways of going through that process?
Well, it's all what you need. I mean, if you can get a loan, if you're a bigger company, and then you can just take that collateralized loan in order to fund the new operation that you need in order to meet the volume, that's great. Right. So it's an issue where debt or equity is really a preference of what you have in your business plan.
Yeah. How do you, I guess the next question is like, how do you get the meeting? How do you get the meeting in those high-end boardrooms like that to be able to make the pitch that's going to make a difference? How do you get those meetings if you don't have the connections?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, the fortunate thing is that there are a lot of people out there that are looking for great value propositions tied to a business plan, tied to a competitive analysis. And because of that, you can go to family office groups. You can go to your local business chapters. I mean, goodness gracious, you can go to davidradlo.com and contact me. I mean,
there you go. It's right there at the bottom of the screen, David. The ticker is going right by so everybody can see it. There it is.
There it is. Yeah.
So they can get directly with you, David. That's great.
Yeah, I'm happy. I enjoy this. This is what I love doing.
It's what you love doing. All right, let's talk about your book a second. It is called Principles of Cartel Disruption. Again, accelerate and maximize performance. Let's see it, David. We can find it on Amazon. You can listen to it on Audible, and certainly on Barnes & Noble. I know you have a copy to show everybody.
Here it is.
I know. It's a great cover. That is really great. So as I said, it's sold everywhere. What is it about the book that is going to want people to rush out and buy it?
It's going to accelerate, and maximize your performance and whatever opportunity you happen to be going with. I mean, I use this in my business with boards and consulting and what have you, because frankly, I got sick of the same issues coming up. So what I said is it's great to say, you've got a people, process, and strategy issue. Go to the middle of the book. Or for that matter, you've got a pitching issue. Let's go and deal with that, or a value proposition. Or for that matter, you're really looking at it and analyze your board, or you really like and have an exit strategy. And you really have a problem with a new venture or opportunity you're going with. So it's based upon what your pain point is and what your needs are. This deals with it.
That deals with it. What? Give me another pain point, David. Okay, pitching, great. No, how to find money. Okay, great. We know where to do that. Where's the people? You said people, and people.
Yes. Leadership.
People is always a huge one.
Leadership and people.
So huge. How can you ever? I mean, is there really a one-stop solution for knowing how to hire properly. Let's say you don't have an HR, component in your business. I know I don't. What is it that you're supposed to be asking? What are you supposed to be looking for? What are the red flags, if you will?
It's more of taking a step back. Attitude plus skills and knowledge plus goal will equal positive behavior change. Yeah. And what I do is, frankly, is I use analysis like Intermetrics and TI that basically will determine people how their drivers are and their motivators are. In bigger companies, what I do is we do market research to find out, bubbling up what the issues are. So what you can do is really set that up first to find out what you have and take an inventory of
what you need,
where you are and what you need.
Right. I know. And that's great. I love the way that your answer was perfect. It's just, for me, people are just always a little, it's one of those kind of things that you think somebody, and then they reveal themselves as something completely different. I guess that's fodder for another day, David.
No, I'd be happy to come back and we can talk about blind spots. And then people have blind spots, and the idea is very quickly find out what their blind spots are, and then they can find out what their blind spots are, and the team can function knowing that someone who's the CFO isn't very energetic about going after things, and they're very cautious, right? Or head of sales doesn't care about the rules. I mean, these are all behavioral issues.
Yeah, behavioral. What about things like testing and assessments, and do they ever really work?
I challenge everybody to go to davidradlo.com and go there and click on assessments and take my free assessment. It's very quick, it's very easy, and will diagnose what your issues are and for further introspection.
Should I be scared, David? I don't know. I should be. I'd be afraid to find out what I could find out over there. I want to let everybody know also that you can be found on social media, which is D Radlo over on Facebook, at David Radlo on Twitter, and then over on LinkedIn, also David Radlo. Any last closing thoughts? Here's, as successful as you are, I love to ask this question too from entrepreneurs, and that is, what would you say up until now? I know that you also had personally negotiated with Fidel Castro. We hadn't even touched upon that because I wanted to get to your book and some of the other things that would be helpful, if you will, to the entrepreneurial community. But really quickly, what was it that you were involved with Fidel Castro, if you can tell us?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Fidel Castro, we were able to, under the Trade Sanction Reform Act, go down and start doing business with him. And we sold at the industry, broke in with basically billions of dollars worth of eggs and chicken. And I was on there, and then I just happened to have some decent political connections. And I worked some backdoor diplomacy, got some hostages freed, gave money to the Hemingway Preservation Trust, made sure that they had a Christmas display at the U.S. Mission, and gave to Catholic charities. So we were able to really start to really incubate and accelerate a relationship. And on top of that, I developed over 12 visits with him for about 7 hours each.
Fascinating man. Oh
yeah, really. That's a whole discussion on its own, and
right.
And that's in my next book. So.
Okay, awesome. So the last question for you then, sir, is what would you say up until now? You cannot say your marriage or children has been your crowning moment.
Oh, besides family?
Besides family and besides, none of that. I know those are always crowning moments. But what else would you consider up to date has been your crowning moment?
Well, I've been very fortunate to lead and create $1 billion market with specialty eggs and cage free and free range and all that stuff, which led to vegetarian bread. And then but more than that, what I really enjoy is for my crowning moment is giving back. I love giving back to helping entrepreneurs succeed, and I give back to Tufts University at the athletic department, nutrition school, and also the entrepreneurship group, and Concussion Legacy Foundation, and a whole host of other charities and food banks, so we can sustainably grow and transform for a new, better, and safer world.
Yeah, that's extraordinary. I say we bring on extraordinary entrepreneurs here, and you are living proof, sir. Thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate you being here. I'm going to say goodbye to you now. I ask you to stay right there while I give an appointment to everybody else for our next edition of In the Limelight with Clarissa, Intelligent Media for the Savvy Entrepreneur. Stay right there, David. I'll be right back with you. Bye, everybody. Until the next time. Thanks for listening to this episode of the In the Limelight podcast, Intelligent Media for the Savvy Entrepreneur. You can listen to this and all of my podcasts on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, Pandora, and Inspired News Radio. You'll find all of my videos and the In the Limelight digital magazine on clarissaburt.com. And don't forget to connect with me on social pretty much anywhere. Stay well until we meet again. In the Limelight.